I found it in my grandparents' closet going through their records. BB was going to take them to the thrift store, and she said, "Oh, you like vinyl, why don't you look through these?" And I literally shrieked out loud when I found this album, and my dad came running in. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm fine." This is Katie with Vintage and Vinyl, back with another fantastic video, and in this video we are talking Christmas vinyl, and boy do I have a lot of classic and quintessential albums for the holiday season I am very excited to share with you. Okay, so it's no surprise to you guys if you've been here a minute that I love my 50s and 60s music, and I have some really great classic vinyl I've been collecting, and I thought it would be fun to do a video and just show you some of my favorite Christmas albums. These are ones that I grew up listening to with my grandparents and ones that I've found as I've gotten older and just really enjoy. Now, some of these are reissues, some of these are originals, but let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm probably going to say this a lot throughout the video, but it is incredibly hard to find some of these old Christmas albums these days, and I am always excited when I can pick up a good, clean reissue of one of my favorite albums that I just can't seem to find anywhere, and this album is it. Oh my gosh, Ella Fitzgerald, her voice is incredible, and this album originally came out in 1960 on Verve, and this is a wonderful reissue that I just got in today before I started filming this video. It's Ella Fitzgerald, Swingin' Christmas. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. It's got Jingle Bells, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, What Are You Doing, New Year's Eve, The Christmas Song, Frosty the Snowman, and so many other classic Christmas hits. Now, I haven't even taken this out of the shrink. I mean, this literally just came in today, and I am so excited to listen to it. It's on red vinyl limited edition, and I think this is going to be wonderful. So if you can't find an original of something, most likely there's a reissue out there and you can pick it up for, you know, a pretty good price, better than the originals are going for, and you can have a wonderful album to listen to for Christmas, and I am super excited to finally have Ella in my collection. Okay, so Christmas is not Christmas to me without Perry Como. That's because my grandmother loves Perry Como, and I grew up listening to a lot of his music. I love all of his Christmas songs, and I was thrilled to pick this next album up and an estate sale for just $3.98, which you cannot beat. This is Perry Como Sings Merry Christmas Music. This came out in 1956 on RCA, and it has some wonderful songs on it. I love 'Twas the Night Before Christmas on this. You usually find that as a singing version, and I believe this is spoken, and I absolutely love it. Christmas is on here, Frosty the Snowman, Jingle Bells, White Christmas, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and so many other just classic, quintessential Christmas music songs, but I absolutely love this. This should be a very easy album for most of you guys to find at your local record shop or thrift store. I have seen this one around, and it's a pretty good bargain when you do find it. So this next album is incredibly hard to find and very sought after by vinyl collectors. Now, of course, you can get a reissue of this, but this to me is the quintessential Christmas album. If you can only have one Christmas album on at your holiday party, this would be it. And I am thrilled to have an original 1955 mono copy of Merry Christmas by Bing Crosby on the Silver Decca label. This is an incredible album. And I got this from my grandparents, so this is probably one of my most prized possessions, and I always say if there's a hurricane and I can only take a couple of vinyl with me in the car, this one is definitely coming with me. I found it in my grandparents' closet going through their records. BB was going to take them to the thrift store, and she said, "Oh, you like vinyl, why don't you look through these?" And I literally shrieked out loud when I found this album, and my dad came running in. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm fine." I just can't believe BB and Papa have this album and I didn't know about it. And so I inherited it and I listen to it every Christmas, and it is the most special thing. I tell you, the songs on this are so wonderful. So this has Silent Night, White Christmas, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, Faith of Our Fathers, I'll Be Home for Christmas, Jingle Bells, and one of my favorites, Silver Bells. That song is so special to me because I love the lyrics in it, and of course my dad grew up listening to that song, and he would always tell me that he would be driving to his grandparents in Heron, Illinois, going over all those rolling hills, listening to this song in the back seat of my grandparents' car, and that memory of Dad telling me that just makes this song extra special. But I also love the guy that wrote it. He wrote it about all these Salvation Army bells that he would hear around New York City, and basically the whole New York City Christmas scene, and I think it just sums up Christmas so beautifully. So I love, love, love that song, and I love this album, and it's incredibly special to me that I have my grandparents' copy. Now, you can find a reissue of this. This is on the silver Decca label with the stars, so this is an original 1955 mono copy. However, you can get a reissue from 1960 on the colored Decca label. That might be a little easier to find. I don't know if they have a more modern reissue of this. I'm pretty sure they must, because this is so popular. But if you find an original of this in good condition, man, it can really go for some big bucks. So good luck out there trying to find this album, but man, I am thrilled to have a copy. Now, this next album was a fantastic find up in Alabama when I was shopping with Pamela Blanchard at one of her favorite local record stores there. And this is Frank Sinatra's Christmas Dreaming on the Columbia 6i label from 1957. I've got a mono copy here, and of course, I just love Frank Sinatra and really the whole Rat Pack. This is a fabulous album. It features White Christmas, O Little Town of Bethlehem, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, Silent Night, Holy Night, and so many other wonderful classic Christmas songs. This is a really good album. Now, the cover here is a little bit damaged. I did pay only $1 for this, if you can believe it, but the record's in really nice shape, and it is on that Columbia 6i label. You see those little 6 Columbia logos there. That's what we call the 6i label in the vinyl world, and I think this is a wonderful album. So if you can find it, definitely pick it up. So when I first got my turntable, my dad and extended family wanted to get me some vinyl for Christmas to go along with my record player, and they took me to the thrift shop and we found these two albums, and boy, they are fantastic. This one is Johnny Mathis, Merry Christmas, with Percy Faith and his orchestra. You can't beat that, on the Columbia 6i label from 1958. It's got so many great Christmas songs on it, and to me, Johnny Mathis is another great voice during the Christmas season. So it's got his version of Blue Christmas. Of course, Elvis did that. I'll Be Home for Christmas, White Christmas, First Noel, Silver Bells, Silent Night, Holy Night, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, and so many other wonderful songs on this album. So this is a pretty easy album to pick up. I do see it all the time for just a couple of dollars at thrift shops and estate sales. So this is a good album to have in your Christmas vinyl collection. Now, the next album that Dad picked up for me at the thrift store when we were shopping together is Ray Conniff and the Ray Conniff Singers, We Wish You a Merry Christmas, also on the Columbia 6i label. This one is a stereo copy from 1962, and it is just fantastic. You gotta love Ray Conniff at Christmas time. It's got Jolly Old St. Nicholas, Oh Holy Night, Deck the Halls, Ring Christmas Bells, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, and a whole slew of other Christmas songs. But this is another one that's pretty easy, in my opinion, to pick up, and it is a staple in my Christmas vinyl collection. This next record from 1964 is one that I hear a lot of record collectors say is pretty easy to find, and they see it all the time in their bins. Well, I'll tell you, I had a time finding an original copy of this. None of our local record stores had it, and they usually do not get it in. And when I saw it online, it was selling probably around $80 to $100. So I don't think that this is as easy to find as a lot of people think it is. This is just, of course, my personal opinion. opinion, but I heard when the record store day list dropped for Black Friday, a lot of record collectors saying, why is there a reissue of the Beach Boys Christmas coming out? Because that's just backing up the pressing plants, and people could pick that up at the bins pretty easily. Well, you know what? A lot of people bought that record on record store day because, truth be told, I think it's kind of harder to come by. At least getting an original anyway. That's just my 2 cents. But I did pay up for it, like I mentioned, last Christmas, and I have listened to the tar out of this record, and I am so thrilled that I got this as my little Christmas present to myself, because it is wonderful. Of course, I'm talking about the Beach Boys Christmas on Capitol Records from 1964. This is a wonderful record featuring, of course, Little Saint Nick and so many other great Christmas songs. So if you can find an original of this, fantastic. Definitely pick it up. But there are tons of reissues out there right now, and that's pretty easy to get, and you can add them to your collection because you gotta have the Beach Boys at Christmas. Throughout this video, I find myself saying, this is a quintessential Christmas album, and you gotta have this. Well, this is another one, to me, that you gotta have at Christmas, because Andy Williams. This came out in 1963, and it is the Christmas album. I picked this up at a Fifth and Charles a few years ago, which, if you don't know, is a used bookshop, and they also sell records, and it's a great place to shop vinyl. But this is a fantastic album. Of course, it features White Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year, which is, to me, always done by Andy Williams. There's other people that covered that song, but Andy Williams' voice is the voice of that song, in my opinion. And of course, Jingle Bells, First Noel, Sweet Little Jesus Boy, The Drummer Boy, Silent Night, Holy Night, so many other great songs. This is on the Columbia 6i label, and I am lucky to have a mono copy of this. So definitely look for Andy Williams' Christmas album. You cannot mess with this. So it wouldn't be a Christmas vinyl video, of course, without Elvis. Yes, that's right, the king. We gotta have him at Christmas time. Now, the album I have, unfortunately, does not have Blue Christmas on it, but it has a whole slew of other wonderful Christmas songs. This is Elvis Sings the Wonderful World of Christmas from 1971. It has a wonderful rendition of O Come All Ye Faithful on it, which is one of my favorite carols. It's got If I Get Home Christmas Day, Merry Christmas Baby, Silver Bells, Won't Seem Like Christmas, and so many other great classic songs. So highly recommend Elvis at Christmas, and this is a great album. I do see this at the thrift shop, so I would imagine that this is probably a pretty easy vinyl to pick up and add to your collection. So I talked about how much I love Silver Bells because of my dad. Well, I also love Alabama because of my dad, and he got me into their Christmas album from 1985. I grew up listening to this on repeat on the way to his house in Blacksburg, Virginia, going up for Christmas. And I remember the snow falling on the mountains and hearing this in the car. It was just so wonderful. And one of my favorite songs that's not a carol, or I would consider a super vintage song, would be Tennessee Christmas from this album. And of course, the older I get, the sweeter this album really becomes, and it is a major part of my Christmas. I've got to have this on every year. One of my favorite traditions is to get cozy on the couch with my eggnog after all the Christmas festivities are over and play this album on Christmas Day. It is so wonderful. So this next album is just one I think a lot of folks have in their collections, but if you don't, it is a wonderful addition. This is A Charlie Brown Christmas by the Vince Guaraldi Trio from 1965. Of course, what you're seeing here actually is a reissue on fun green vinyl. I picked this up last Christmas, and it is a wonderful reissue of this album. You can find an original, but I saw the green vinyl in one of my local stores and, well, just had to pick it up. My grandfather would always send me Peanuts comics in college. He would cut them out, circle his favorites, and put them in a card and mail them to me. So I've always had a special connection with the Peanuts gang, and I grew up watching this with Grandma and Grandpa every Christmas. We love the Charlie Brown Christmas special, and so of course this is a great addition to my collection. I picked this next album up for just $1 at an estate sale a couple of years ago, and boy do I love it. It is Guy Lombardo and his Royal Canadians, Jingle Bells. I love the album art on this. This is from 1956, and I believe I have a stereo copy, but this has Jingle Bells, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, Christmas Chopsticks, White Christmas, Christmas Candles, Frosty the Snowman, and of course so many other great songs. I love this album, love Guy Lombardo. This is wonderful. And speaking of wonderful, I've got some Bobby Daren. Gosh, I love Bobby Daren. This is the 25th day of December with Bobby Daren on Atco. Picked this up for just a couple of bucks somewhere a few years ago. And this has more of your traditional Christmas carols on it, which I really like. This is a wonderful album. The album art is very cool. It's got Silent Night, Holy Night, Jehovah Hallelujah, While Shepherds Watch Their Flocks, Go Tell It on the Mountain, Baby Born Today, Holy, 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 Come O Ye Faithful, Poor Little Jesus, so many other great Christmas songs. But I love this album. It reminds me so much of going to Christmas Eve service with my family growing up, and so this is a wonderful record to have on at Christmas. So I've talked about on my channel before how much the Four Seasons really influenced my love of vintage music, from doo-wop to crooners to early rockabilly. I mean, this was the first artist that I really added to my vinyl collection and sent me down a whole rabbit hole of wonderful vintage music. So of course I had to get their Christmas album, and I believe this is from 1966 on the Phillips label. It is the Four Seasons Christmas album. This has a wonderful Merry Christmas melody on it. It also has Joy to the World, Little Drummer Boy, Christmas Tears, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Jingle Bells, and White Christmas. It is a wonderful album, and I am just very excited to have this in my vinyl collection. Okay, so now for the honorable mentions. Now, these are albums that I call honorable mentions, not because they're not good, but just because I don't actually physically have them here yet in my collection, but they are on their way from eBay, and I am so excited to finally own these. I have picked up some wonderful vinyl this Christmas, the first one being Burl Ives' Holly Jolly Christmas on Decca. Now, if you have been looking for that album, you know it's a pretty tough one to come by, and I did pay up for it. I paid about $84, but you know what? That's a pretty good price for that album from 1965. It was in mint condition, and I am so excited to get that. That has been on my Christmas vinyl bucket list for years. Now, I've also picked up a couple of other albums for just a couple of dollars, not super expensive. I have Nat King Cole, the Christmas song from 1962, and Dean Martin's Christmas album from 1966. So all three of those are on their way to me, and when I get them, I'll be sharing them over on Instagram. I cannot wait to give those a listen because, of course, those voices are also the face of Christmas to me. Alrighty guys, that is gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Now leave a comment down below and let me know what your favorite Christmas song or Christmas album is. I'm dying to know. And of course, before my next video, I'll be seeing you over on Instagram at vintage_and_vinyl. And I hope, as always, folks, you will save that vintage, spin that vinyl, and bend YouTube. Bye bye, everyone.